The devil's on the loose and he's dancing with the mummy.
Deep from the bowels of the Macabre Theater Laboratory, we bring you Macabre Cast. There is nothing wrong with your streaming service. You are exactly where you should be, where the slush puppy machine is always on and cold. Your favorite horror mag is on the rack, discreetly placed between Women's Wear Daily and Cosmopolitan. I'm your host, Doc Mark, along with my mold-riddled counterpart, Karis, the Little Mummy, here to bring you the latest episode of Macabre Cast, where we'll be dropping R's where they belong and adding them where they don't. Yeah! Newbies welcome, regulars welcome back, and worsifers, get out of here! This is a safe space for those who grew up in a time when the video cassette player first started becoming a regular household item, and video store rental businesses began opening everywhere, exposing young minds to a world of horror films we never dreamed even existed. If you haven't already, like, share, follow, and subscribe to my show on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, or, when I'm not violating infantile community standard rules, TikTok. Tell a friend to do the same, even that guy who can seemingly fix just about anything. But when it's his turn at the Dunkin' Donuts drive-thru, he acts as though it's his first day on the planet Earth. Yeah, that guy. Oh. If you'd like to interact with fellow monster kids, or maybe even the Drac Pack Elite, follow the Facebook page Macabre Theater. It's there where you can send me a voice message through Messenger. Or, if you'd prefer, send me an email to macabretheater666@gmail.com. Macabrecast episode 165 and all of its gory glory begins now.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Adoro il cast macabro.
Horror films that were not what you expected them to be.
Big wow.
Karis,
Yes?
every week, you don't seem to like the topic. Ever.
I liked episode 159. You know, the one about all the mummy movies.
Somehow, that does not surprise me.
And by the way, why are you telling people that I'll be doing the second half of the show nude?
I'm trying to up the viewership, Karis.
Well, then you go nude.
I said up the viewership, not decimate it.
On another subject, I know a place where Friday comes before Thursday.
What? How is that possible? You're saying that there's a place where Friday comes before Thursday.
Yes, the dictionary.
And on that note, it's time for horror news. The trailer has dropped for Peacock's long-awaited series based on the Friday the 13th franchise, Crystal Lake. And boy, even though it's only 30 seconds, does it look good. A documentary on what most monster kids consider the worst horror film of all time, Exorcist II: The Heretic, called Boorman and the Devil, is releasing theatrically in August. I can wait for that to stream. Paramount Pictures has acquired the rights to develop a new Nightmare on Elm Street film using Wes Craven's original screenplay. Okay, so it's a remake. Again. We all know how that went. Horror Inc.'s executive vice president, Robbie Barisman, says that the Crystal Lake series is just the tip of the iceberg and much more is soon to be released. A movie, gaming, and more. Obsession, the movie all the youngins are raving about, streams on Peacock July 17th. And that's it for horror news. And Draven agrees. Draven the blood-vomiting bat. Children of the night, what messes they make. So Faces of Death 2026 finally comes to Shudder, and I get my chance to see it. This is a movie where we get a glimpse into the world of a job where people see things so we don't have to. This is like Scary Larry to the 10th power. And I love this idea. Because when I first heard they were making a Faces of Death reboot, I said, no way. That's impossible. Faces of Death, the original, was the viral video before there were viral videos. And that's a quote from the new film. It was taboo. My friends and I would rent it, and it was like a challenge to see who wouldn't walk out before the movie ended. And I never made it past the monkey scene. If you know, you know. Now that we know it was all fake, the mystique behind Faces of Death is gone. So the best way to approach Faces of Death 2026 is with a facelift, pun intended. In a world of instant internet, we unfortunately have to have jobs dedicated to monitoring what people upload. Teams of people devoted to seeing it so we don't have to. Now imagine a killer who's rebooting Faces of Death for real. And this woman who works as a monitor is onto the fact that it's very possible this person is uploading real deaths. The homage to the OG Faces is great. The story of the woman monitoring the video content and her PTSD from a past incident is more interesting than the film's killer at large plot. The killer is played by Dacre Montgomery, who was Billy in Stranger Things. His character is like if Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer had a child. I really enjoyed this retelling, retold in the only way I think you could do it. The cat and mouse was great, and we had a gruesome grudge match in the end. I give Faces of Death 2026 3 out of 5 stars. Check it out.
Check it out!
Horror chap Matt knows all about monsters. He said they were coming to get me tonight.
Hey Doc Mark, Little Cars, and all the Monster Kids hang out at the theater this week. It's Horror Chat Matt checking in. So Dark, last week's topic was Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday, and I had mentioned that was the first Friday the 13th movie that I was old enough to see in the theaters. And you had asked if that was the first Friday the 13th that movie I had seen, or if I just went in and saw this thing blind. And thankfully, I had seen all of the movies before Jason Goes to Hell from renting them. I definitely did not watch them in order. I would just get whatever one was available. I'm almost 100% certain that part 3 was more than likely the first one that I saw, because I distinctly remember him having the hockey mask. And I managed to track down all the other ones over the course of the years. The Jason Takes Manhattan came out in 1989, so I was only 12, so there was no way my parents were going to take me to go see that. And then I was checking out what year Jason Goes to Hell was released, and that was 93. So I was only 16, so I guess it was a good thing that the person at the box office probably didn't care one way or the other. I doubt we looked old enough. But we were 16 when we went to go see Jason Goes to Hell. And like I said, it was a fun movie. Not my favorite, but definitely not worth the hate that it gets. Awesome premise for a different franchise, I think. But we've already talked about that. Let's talk about something I'm super excited for, and that is the teaser trailer for Crystal Lake. I was excited for this to begin with, but I was a little bit nervous if they'd be able to nail the feel and the look of this thing. We saw the still photos, and that kind of gave me a little glimmer of hope. And yes, it's only 30 seconds, but what a glorious 30 seconds this teaser trailer was. I am so pumped for this thing now. I can't wait for the show to come around. And then I just want to give a couple of quick reviews of a couple of movies I just watched. I checked out Passenger. It was okay at best. Nothing great, nothing bad. Probably about 10 minutes too long. I did start to get bored a little bit. Interesting story, like a ghost story on a haunted, not a haunted highway, but basically this entity latches onto you if you drive by certain highways and stuff like that. It's definitely worth the watch. I'd give it a 6 out of 10. And then a little more disappointing, I did go to the theaters to check out the new Evil Dead movie. And I don't know if it's because it's from a foreign director, I believe they are French, that there's something missing in this movie. It was okay. Nothing great. I'll give this a 6 out of 10 as well. I don't know, it's just the last couple of Evil Dead movies where the Deadites just feel, without the goofy, dark humor, they just feel mean-spirited to me, which I'm fine with, but the whole franchise up until the remake or reboot, and I think it was 2013, there was lightheartedness and camp to the movies Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, and I don't know, maybe it's time to bring back a little bit of that goofy humor, because this thing just kind of felt flat to me. And while they did use CGI throughout the movie, and it wasn't that bad, the last act, boy, oh boy, do they go overboard with the CGI. It just reminded me an awful lot of the Brandon Fraser early Mummy movies, which came out in the late 90s, so I'd like to think the CGI looks a little bit better than what we're getting here. I'll go see the next one when it comes out. That's who I am. I love to see movies continue, storylines continue. But yeah, overall, I think everybody in this group more than likely will run out to the theaters to watch this thing, so I'm definitely not going to say not to go to the theaters. But if I was just giving out a general recommendation to somebody that's not a diehard, diehard Evil Dead fan, I'd probably say wait to stream it. But I know this group, we got to go check it out and hope that it's groovy. In my opinion, it was not. That's about it for this week. As always, Dark, make mine Macabre cast.
Horror Chat, I agree. The pictures alone of the Crystal Lake show had me really excited. When I saw the clothes and the cars and the sets and everything was like period piece, I get very excited. The trailer with the campfire songs and it looking like 1958, I'm just stoked. I can't wait for this. And I read somewhere else too, they're just going to keep going with this thing. If this is the hit that they think it is, they're looking at like 10 seasons if they can pull it off. And also, I don't know if you know this, Peacock is dropping all 8 episodes at once, so you can binge this thing when it comes out. So, Monster Kids, get your popcorn ready, because Peacock's Crystal Lake is coming this October. And as far as the Evil Dead films, look, I have no problem with them being scary and mean. I've kind of always felt I'd like to see it go that direction. I do miss the way the original films were, but the original trilogy is what it is. And I don't think you're ever going to have that back. And I welcome the new look is fine. But again, I hated the 2013 remake. And I really didn't care for Evil Dead Rise the way everybody did. I am hoping that Evil Dead Burn is going to turn me. And again, I'm really excited for Evil Dead Wrath. So there's that. So great to hear from you, Horror Chat, and we look forward to hearing from you each week.
You are listening to Dart Mark's Macabre Cast, episode 165, Horror Films That Weren't What You Thought They Were.
So, horror films that weren't what you expected them to be. A particular film that comes to mind for me is 2007's Funny Games, starring Naomi Watts and Tim Roth. A home invasion film that was originally a German film, remade to be an American film with American stars, by the same director, no doubt, Michael Haneke. Two creepy 20-something-year-old psychopaths work their way into the home and hold the family hostage, all the while torturing them with sadistic games. Not a huge favorite of mine in the film world, but the moment in this film that had me ask myself, what the did I just watch? Was a scene in which, now, Monster Kids, I'm about to spoil both versions of Funny Games. Not only the 2007 version, but the 1997 German version, because both films were pretty much exactly the same thing. So, skip ahead if you care, because no one, especially me, can tolerate whining.
Warning, spoilers abound, warning, spoilers.
Okay, you've been warned. So when one of the creepy home invader kids gets killed during the melee, the other breaks the fourth wall. He takes the TV remote and rewinds the film that we are all watching. Rewinds it to the point before his partner in crime is killed and sets up a do-over. Infuriating moviegoers everywhere. Some found this genius, while others just consider it a cheat. Have you seen this film? What do you think? What are your thoughts on characters breaking the fourth wall? Jack Nicholson does it constantly throughout The Shining. What? Okay, so you've never noticed? This was done because director Kubrick told him to. Many scenes right in the middle, Jack looks at us, the audience. Go back and watch. You'll see.
Is this something you could share with the rest of us, Amazing Larry?
Greetings, Dark Mark and Karis, a little mummy. Scary Larry here with a lot to say. So let's jump right into this. Karis naked? Ugh, shivers internally. So Dark, two movies that immediately came to mind are Psycho and From Dusk Till Dawn. If you go into both of them cold, it wouldn't strike you as horror. Psycho, you have a secretary on the run after embezzling money and takes a very dark turn. Dusk Till Dawn doesn't seem to be anything more than a crime caper until they arrive at the Titty Twister bar. Not sure if that's the direction of the topic, but that's what I thought of. Well, it's been a bunch of new horror for me. I got an email letting me know that the new Faces of Death flick was available on Shudder, so I logged in, still getting used to the new format. I found that one and saw a bunch of movies I've wanted to check out for some time, just got added to their lineup. Now, Faces of Death was decent. It's based out of a social media platform and focuses on the department that approves or blocks videos uploaded by users. Barbie Ferreira stars as a girl who has her own past trying to be an influencer that had a tragic ending. She's a video screener and notices several videos that seem to be real snuff. And we later figure out a killer is recreating scenes from the original Faces of Death. No one believes her and keeps bringing up her past to shut her up, but she's convinced otherwise. She is a tad over the top in this, but not enough to take away points. 3 out of 4 stars. Next, my friend and I went to see Evil Dead Burn. I commented to him that it's crazy to think this blockbuster franchise all started as a B horror movie on a budget of only $350,000. This time, the Deadites focus on a family in a remote home. It is revealed why they are targeted, and it's a nice tie-in. While this isn't as bloody as Evil Dead Rise, it's a darker movie, brilliantly shot. Since this is brand new, I'm avoiding spoilers, but I highly recommend, especially seeing it in a theater. 3.5 out of 4 stars for me. And if you do go see it, watch all the way to the very end of the credits, since there's not 1, but 2 post-credit Easter eggs. Lastly, I just wrapped up watching Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. This is one of a string of classic movies that have become part of the public domain and got the horror version treatment. This is a dark take on the fable of Peter Pan taking boys to Neverland. Of all the horror version classic tales, this ranks high on the list of a very good storyline. All I would say is this Peter Pan is Dahmer-esque. 3 out of 4 stars, and it's available on Shudder.
No one's gonna see this Egyptian nude. Doc Mart just wants to up his ratings. Well, if he wants to up his ratings, he can go nude. Or Scary Larry can go nude. But it won't be me.
Larry, I know you've said over and over again that these Winnie the Pooh, Mickey Mouse, gory redos are actually decent films. I just can't bring myself to watch them. And now you're giving Peter Pan 3 out of 4 stars. That's a high rating. So it tempts me. It does. It tempts me to check it out. But I don't know what it is that puts me off so much about these movies, because it's, again, I haven't seen them. So, and Evil Dead Burn, I'm very interested in. Keep hearing mixed things. Mostly, it's back and forth. As you know, Horror Chat had what he had to say, and others have said. As you know, and I'm beating a dead horse here, I was not crazy about Evil Dead Rise, and I know you were. And I know if this is a sequel to that, I'm still going to see it. I'm just hoping that I like it better. Always great to hear from you, Scary Larry. Please keep seeing it so we don't have to.
Don't touch that dial, monster kids.
Yeah, you don't know where it's been.
Pipe down. It's almost time for the final thought.
Not quite, bro. Not before. Cobwebbed Classics.
Ooh, yeah. Cobwebbed Classics.
Classics. Welcome to Cobwebbed Classics, where I dust off a lost, forgotten, or just plain unappreciated film and introduce it to, or maybe just remind you about it, so your spooky Saturday night might run a little creepier. This week's Cobwebbed Classic is 1964's The Last Man on Earth, directed by Ubaldo Ragione and Sidney Salco, written by Richard Matheson and starring Vincent Price. Breathtaking black and white cinematography and survival themes that will have you thinking about them long after the film ends. And this came out 46 years before The Walking Dead. A plague wipes out Earth's population, or rather turns them into zombie vampires who come out at night. Vincent Price plays Dr. Robert Morgan, who has fallen into the routine of killing creatures during the day and hunkering down at night. George A. Romero called this film the blueprint for Night of the Living Dead. This film was remade in 1971 as The Omega Man, starring Charlton Heston. Vincent Price was very fond of Last Man and felt it was superior to the reboot. Richard Matheson, who wrote the novel, also partook in the script, but was so dissatisfied he asked to be credited as Logan Swanson. Be careful when picking up a copy of this film because a clerical error caused the copyright to expire, putting it into the public domain. Therefore, there are dozens of lousy, low-budget home video versions out there. A tagline for this gem is as follows.
Do you dare imagine what it would be like to be the last man on Earth? Or the last woman?
1964's The Last Man on Earth is this week's
Classic.
The following program is rated TV MALV. It contains...
Land sakes alive! Here comes the chairman of the profanity party.
Hello, Doc Mark, Karis the Little Mummy, and all the Macabre cast fans listening in. This is Metal Melody, and I'm checking in for episode 165. So, hello. I hope everybody's doing good. I hope you're all enjoying your summer. I would like to first say, Mark, that was 164. Great episode on covering Friday the 13th. I really enjoyed it. I don't have a lot. I have a little bit to talk about, though. I saw a movie called Black Box. And it wasn't too bad. It's about an airplane that something happens like up in the sky. They see lights, people get sick, they get nosebleeds, etc., etc. It was very interesting. The beginning was a little slow, but it was pretty good. I'm not going to say like what happens or what they run into in the airplane or whatever, in case people want to see it. But it was a good watch. I enjoyed it. I went to the movies and I saw Evil Dead Burn. And what I'll say is it was good. I enjoyed it. It wasn't as creepy and eerie as Evil Dead Rise was. Like Evil Dead Rise blows Evil Dead Burn out of the water, like in my opinion, very easily. I think that Evil Dead Burn, like I said, was good. I'd give it like maybe 3.5 stars. It had some really disgusting freaking parts in it, though, that like, and I don't mean gruesome, like bloody. I mean, when you watch it, you'll know what I mean. I had to like close my eyes and be like, what the fuck did they put that on there for? Because it was disgusting. Like I wanted to puke. But if you see it, you'll know exactly the parts. They were maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3. They were absolutely disgusting. Again, had nothing to do with blood or murder or anything. You'll see. It had great, great bloody scenes in it and everything. And the ending was really cool because it kind of ended going into, I guess, what they're going to have, Evil Dead Wrath. This one, like Evil Dead Rise, when I saw it, I wouldn't exactly say like run out and you have to watch it in the movie theater. Like I said, that I gave like 4.5 stars, I think. This one, like maybe 3.5. Is well put together. Like I said, it's definitely worth the watch. I just wasn't as crazy over it like I was Evil Dead Rise. I think that was much more spookier, creepier. Evil Dead Burn, however, was definitely, I think, more bloodier, for sure. So if you like the gore and everything, which we all do, but I mean, if that's your biggest thing, you probably love Evil Dead Burn. I'm more for the creepiness and the supernatural and all that stuff, so that's why I love Evil Dead Rise. Both fantastic, though, and yeah, I can't wait for Evil Dead Wrath to come out, too, because I'm going to go and see that. And that's supposed to be, I guess, the prequel to it. Like, it's supposed to be, like, in the 1970s era or something. So that's about it. I'm going on vacation for a week. I'll be at the beach, so you guys won't hear from me for a couple episodes anyway. I just want to say that I hope everybody has a fantastic week. I hope you're all enjoying your summer. Stay hydrated, stay healthy. And I'll talk to you in a couple of episodes. Oh yeah, and what was the and the topic about movies that didn't go the way you thought. There were a few of them. One was Drop. That wasn't what I expected. I didn't really care for that. Like I said before when we reviewed that, that wasn't what I expected at all. What was the other one there with when he takes his daughter to the concert? I can't remember the name of that one, but that was another one that just didn't go how I thought it was gonna go. There's many more, but I'm pressed for time. So yeah, take care, and I'll talk to you again probably on like episode 167, I'm guessing. Bye.
Thank you so much for the feedback on episode 164, my Jason Goes to Hell episode. It's very appreciated, Metal Melody, and I'm always asking for feedback because I'm just making this up as I go along, and it's always good to know that I might be doing something right. Black Box, airplane horror. Is there anything really more terrifying than being trapped 30,000 feet in the air, and something's going on? I don't know what this film is about, but it just makes me think, 30,000 feet up, you're with about 200 other people, and there's nowhere to go. Well, except down, I guess. An Evil Dead Burn. So much back and forth. Horror Chat had mentioned too much CGI. Scary Larry seemed to like it. You kind of liked the one before it. I'm just going to have to check this out. I am an Evil Dead fan. I prefer the original trilogy and the series that came out. I have no problem with the movies being serious and scary. I've kind of always wanted it to go that way. But I won't beat that dead horse anymore by saying I wasn't a huge fan of Evil Dead Rise. I'm hoping that I get turned around with Evil Dead Burn. And my topic of, films, horror films that weren't what you expected them to be. And you mentioned Drop. And that was, I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. It's definitely nowhere in my favorites. And the movie you couldn't think of the name of was Trap, where the serial killer brings his daughter to a Taylor Swift concert, although they don't call her Taylor Swift, but you know where I'm coming from. So great to hear from you each week, Metal Melody. Hope to hear from you again soon.
You are listening to Dart Mark's Macabre Cast, episode 165, Horror Films That Weren't What You Thought They Were.
Do you want to participate in Dark Mark's Macabre Cast? But you don't want to send a voice message? Maybe you don't like the sound of your own voice, or you're shy. Send Dark an email. He can read your thoughts on the show. Your opinion matters. Send Dark an email at macabretheater666@gmail.com.
Another horror film that was not what I expected was 2009's The House of the Devil. It's set in 1983 with a struggling college student, Samantha, taking a babysitting job that has far more red flags than the Indianapolis 500. Oh, and did I mention that on the night she sits, there's a full lunar eclipse? I won't spoil this one. I will say, however, that the reason she was lured to this place is a total head spinner. Cinematography-wise, the film has a 1970s look to it that I love. If you'd like to hear me discuss The House of the Devil more, check out episode 59 on my YouTube channel.
Goditi questo episodio de Cast Macabro.
Thank you, Maria Monstalia, for telling our Italian friends to enjoy this episode of Macabre Cast. Horror films that weren't what we thought they would be. Life is never what we thought it would be. For some, better than they thought. For others, not so much. Life is unpredictable. And my mom used to say, 90% of what we worry about never happens. Beware the moon. Keep clear of the moors. But most of all, remember, be good to yourself. This is Dark Mark, signing off. See you soon, I hope.
This is a Macabre Theater production.
Subscribe us.